So you're an international student, you're here on an F1 visa, and now you're wondering, can I take a leave of absence? It's a really important question.
It really is. Comes up quite a bit, actually. And understanding how taking time off impacts your F1 status is, well, crucial.
Yeah, you don't want to mess that up.
Yeah, definitely not.
Mm.
So that's what we're diving into today, the implications of leave of absence for your F1 visa based on, the regs and standard practice.
Okay, so let's get to the heart of it. What actually happens to your visa status if you need to step away from your studies for a bit?
Well, the thing to remember is that your F1 visa is fundamentally tied to being a full-time student. That's its purpose.
Right. You're here to study.
Exactly. So if you're not actively enrolled, not taking classes full-time, your status could be affected. It's not automatic that you just keep it.
So just deciding to take a semester off, say, isn't straightforward. You can't just stop.
No, not without potentially serious consequences. Taking a leave, especially if you don't get the proper authorization, can put your visa status in jeopardy.
Okay, authorization. That sounds key. Who provides that?
That would be your designated school official, the DSO. You probably know them from your International Student Office.
Ah, right, the DSO. They handle all the visa paperwork and stuff.
Precisely. They manage your SEVIS record, which is your official F1 student record. An authorized leave is something they can grant, but usually only for specific, quite serious reasons.
Like what kind of reasons?
Typically, we're talking about things like documented medical conditions, maybe a serious family emergency back home, situations where it's genuinely impossible for you to continue your studies for a period.
Okay, so if something really major and unavoidable happens, there's a process, a formal way to handle it.
Yes, exactly. There's a formal request process through your DSO.
But what if someone, just feels burned out or wants to travel for a bit, something not covered by a doctor's note or a family crisis?
That's where it gets much trickier. A leave taken for reasons that don't fit the strict immigration regulations, or one taken without getting that DSO approval first. Well, that can be seen as violating your F1 status.
Violating status. That sounds bad. What does that actually mean in practical terms? What are the consequences?
They can be pretty severe, unfortunately. If you're found to be out of status, you might be required to leave the United States.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And it could make it very difficult, maybe even impossible, to re-enter the U.S. later on that same visa, or potentially to get other U.S. visas in the future.
Okay, that's definitely disruptive. So the absolute bottom line here seems to be talk to your DSO before you do anything.
That is the number one non-negotiable first step. Your DSO is the only one who can give you accurate advice for your specific situation. They'll tell you if your reason for wanting a leave might qualify for authorization.
And what kind of documents you'd need, presumably.
Exactly. They'll outline the required documentation, the process, and crucially explain exactly how taking leave, even an authorized one, might affect things like your timeline for graduation, your practical training eligibility, and your visa itself.
Right, because schools might have their own rules too, on top of the immigration ones.
Absolutely. Each university or college can have its own institutional policies about leaves of absence, so your DSO navigates both federal regulations and school rules for you.
It just really hammers home how vital it is to be proactive, communicate, don't just assume.
You can't assume anything with immigration status. It's too important. Remember, the F1 visa exists to let you study here. Any big pause in that activity needs careful management.
Okay, so wrapping this up, for someone listening who's maybe in this exact situation, thinking about a leave, the core message is taking a leave of absence can seriously impact your F1 visa status.
It really can. And for you listening right now, the immediate thing you need to do seriously, the very first step is schedule a meeting with your DSO. Talk it through with them before you make any final decisions.
Because everyone's situation is a bit different, right? And school policies vary.
Exactly. Personalized advice from your DSO is essential. There's no one-size-fits-all answer here.
So view this not necessarily as hitting a wall, but more like navigating a process. It needs planning. It needs communication.
Precisely. Understanding these rules, talking to your DSO, it empowers you. It helps you make informed choices to keep your education on track and maintain your legal status here. That's the goal.